All right, so today's power was flame. I mean, again, we got back to a much more basic one, because I feel like things like time control, master blades, like all these, they're they're fun, right? They're cool and they're interesting to talk about. But sometimes, man, sometimes you want the heavy, like you want the fun ones, right? You want the ones that you just kind of like you look at and you're like, I get it, right? Just like a very reliable, like a go-to. Right, and I think that's what I think Flame accomplishes that very well. I think it's a very strong power. It's a very it feels like a very equalizing kind of ability, right? It makes it feel like it's a very even fight. You know, I don't know. When I think of a Flame superhero, I think of I mean, it's probably Heat Blast from whatchamacallit, Ben 10. Like, I mean, that's probably my go-to. Just because I mean, it's just like that's just the series I grew up with. So I am really proud of the hand anatomy here. I'm not gonna lie. First one was referenced. The second one wasn't. Oops, hit my desk. My bad. But yeah, the first one was referenced. The second one was not. Mostly because I didn't feel like flipping the image. Like I know I could have, right? And I'm not saying like when I draw, but I'm saying like the actual reference image. I know I could have like flipped it around. Um, I do kind of wish with the posing, I wish instead of having it be like above him, I kind of wish it was more of like him shooting it out. I kind of wish I reframed it. But but I mean, regardless, it was gonna be. I mean, I'm drawing it. It's obviously gonna be peak. It's gonna be fire. It goes without saying, honestly, right? But again, I think this was all pretty anatomically correct. Nothing super crazy. I do kind of wish I had a better game plan going into it. I think that's the thing I really just kind of need to improve. But I still find a way to make it look beautiful as always. So yeah, no, again, I think this was a good challenge in perspective, a good challenge in just I think it was a very good anatomy and perspective challenge. Just because when a power is as basic as something like like flame, right? I think that I don't know. I always want to challenge myself in like a second way, right? Like if the power is if the power is something that you kind of already get, I like to make the art something interesting and fun to look at. So that was you can see I'm as you'll notice with basically every single one of these speed draws, the face it's always I can never get it quite right. I don't know what it is about drawing faces that I just can't seem to do. But I mean, it is say what you will, I am consistent. I am very bad at drawing faces consistently. Um, I don't know, but again, it was. I think it still turned out well. Also, you'll notice with a lot of my posing and framing, because I suck at drawing faces. I generally like to. I generally like to have something that covers it up. Same thing with shoes, because I can't draw shoes. Because unlike the rest of you perverts, I don't actually look at and draw feet for hours of my day. So that definitely doesn't help my ability there. I was thinking of originally having them on like a building, like a rooftop. But then that sounded hard, like then I don't know, it was because it wasn't so much like the actual panels on the floor. It was more like how do I make the railing look correct? And then I was just like, it's not. Blah. Like now, I like in retrospect, I probably could have figured it out, but also when you're doing something like that, you're supposed to like start with it in mind. You're not supposed to add it afterwards. Again, planning. It's crazy. But yeah, so then I started drawing the fire orb. Originally, I was gonna have it going through each one of his fingertips, but then I was like, eh, like it's like, that sounds kind of stupid and hard, and stupid and hard. Um, and then yeah, I tried a newer trick where I drew in black as like the first primary color, so it was more traditional. And then I lowered the opacity and then redid it for the line art, and I think it worked out pretty well. I think it was generally pretty good. I do kind of wish I removed some of like the sphere like parts of this because this very much feels like a sphere. And so I wish I had removed some of that a little earlier in it, because as it got later, I had to kind of try to retroactively change it. It's just like, what, you know? But yeah, no, again, you live and you learn, right? But yeah, no, again, I thought this was a very interesting thing to draw, even though it did kind of get confusing on what was what a little later in the drawing process. But yeah, no, again, I really wish that I could just draw it in more of a black and white style, just because I feel like I could focus on other aspects of it if it was in black and white. But unfortunately, color is a thing I need to work on, and it's a thing I'm gonna have to put effort in, and all of that stuff. So, gotta figure it out. Onto while it's doing the hatching and cross hatching and all that stuff, I I don't know. I was looking at the analytics of the video from yesterday, right? Of Master of Blades, and it was really weird because it had like nothing when it released, which I was like, that's kind of strange. And then it just like 24 hours later, it jumped up in all of its analytics, except for watch time, because I guess you'll just hate to listen to me yap. And that's, I don't know. Write down in the comments below. But yeah, but like seriously though, do write down in the comments. Like, do you want these to be longer or do you want these to be shorter? Like, how do you want them formatted, right? Because if shorter stuff is gonna do better, then I'm always more ready and willing to do it that way. Yeah, I tried to have the hoodie feel distinctive from the hand, even in this more black and white context, just because I thought that it was kind of, I don't know, it didn't feel very distinctive. That, and I do think that even though the anatomy is pretty good on the hands, I think that the hoodie definitely has its own problems. And again, if I could just have the picture be like of this, right, and then we just call it full stop, then it probably be pretty good. It's just unfortunately challenging myself to be better is not who why would you even do that, right? But yeah, this is around the time I got the idea to change it to the style that you would come to see a little bit later, or like in the more finalized product. Let's see. Yeah, so yeah, this should be the coloring start. Again, I really like this hatching. I really like the effect that it takes on. I was really going back and forth on what the fire's color should be, right? If it should be like yellow, if it should be red, and I kind of settled on, I would say, less of a fire and more of like a magma. Mostly because I think because this hoodie is yellow, I wanted to make it feel very distinctively different from it, and so that came out in the form of the darker reds. And again, it's also just because I like the color red more, and so I'm more familiar with using it, right? But yeah, so again, more fiddling with the face here, just because Lord knows I'll never be decisive while doing this. I don't know. Again, I have this really weird problem where I get like way too in the zone with these videos, like when I'm recording them, and I'll just get off like starting to talk on a tangent, right? Like I'm doing right now, and I just end up without the music for like a couple like for basically like the 2 hours that it takes to get something drawn, and it's just like uh, it's like and like I'll like look back and it'll hit end recording and then I'll go over to like YouTube to export it and stuff, and then I'm just like, oh, probably could have turned on some music for this, because it's just a thing that kind of slips your mind. But yeah, again, I had to go back in with the cross hatching to make the yellow feel a little darker, which again I think is generally a better feeling, just to add some contrast against the fire. And then yeah, again, I don't really know how I'm supposed to texture flame in like a hatching context. I know there probably is a way to do it. I just know I'm not smart enough to know what that is. Like And I could probably like look it up and better myself, but that sounds hard and stupid, and I don't want to do that. So, here we are. Yeah, so you can see that, again, there probably is a middle ground where it's probably perfect, but, as if I'm going to be the one to do that. I was thinking of adding some more highlights, but then I just ended up getting them drowned out with this more hardcore red. Um, but yeah, I don't know, because this felt much more like a fireball, because sometimes like, especially in like anime and stuff, I'll see like a fireball and it's just like, that's not like, come on. But this feels like heavy and painful, and that's not only is that what she said. God, I'm so funny. But yeah, again, so that was my idea while drawing it. Um, but yeah, so again, I went with more of like a smoky vibe for the background. So my classic of not drawing backgrounds will of course always continue. But yeah, so that's about the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Uh, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, make sure to watch these videos for longer because I need the engagement. Also, shouts at us, 15 subscribers. We're doing great. Again, write down in the comments any questions and anything, and I'll make sure to answer them at some point. See ya.